audio thumbs up to everyone there in Radio Land. It's Inane Blather, number 85. Yeah. But really, thanks for listening. It's Inane Blather, where, not you, Natalie, but the only podcast you know that has two cisgendered white people talking about leftist politics. Mm-hmm. We fill a really niche market.
Groundbreaking. I know.
Groundbreaking. Yeah. People who
Humby says it's not the best podcast, but it is their favorite. So I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome back to not the best podcast, but your favorite podcast, Inane Blather.
Because you're friends with us, even though probably some of your other friends have podcasts too. So
we run in a podcasting circle without even meaning to. Yeah, let's see. Well, where it is great to be fine, and the only N-word we know is knowledge.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the only time you hear
the N-word.
I forgot this is a little slower before I got to time this right. But, your favorite podcast brought to you by...
headstrong, stubborn, quibbling, self-centered, vindictive, obnoxious, hormonal, sexually preoccupied, evil, thieving, cross-dressing jerks.
Oh, yeah, we are hyped. We are hyped.
This is lit.
Yes.
We were already hanging out today.
Yeah. Nothing gets you more hyped than, like, writing cover letters and, like, just gently... tweaking your resume and just like filling out questionnaires when applying for jobs. It's like what I do right before I go to the gym to work out. I sit down and like apply for a few jobs, you know.
I stopped drinking
really
coffee.
Invigorating.
I just started opening up my Indeed profile and my job feed and scrolling through and being like, it's not as loud as you think. Mostly the noises is just like, but I'm very hyped when I'm doing it, so so I need to erase this thing that I wrote down. The only N-word I know is knowledge, but
that's really funny.
You know what's funny? I started watching like TV. I know, well, I mean,
why?
I have been watching movies, which is great. I've been talking to you about that. And things are on my watch list.
TV or something.
I started I realized that I can watch Jeopardy on Pluto TV, and they have just a live Jeopardy channel. It's just always going. I didn't realize until
they just have the feed running, and there's like sitting on their like the podiums and no one's there. It's like
even
after
though they
hours.
record an entire season over the course of 4 weeks, and then the rest of the year there's no one there.
Blank.
The lights are off.
And it's just the Jeopardy music playing in the background.
I did realize later that I could just go to that it's also on demand on Pluto TV. So I was just like, man, I don't know which one. I just went to season 30. But anyway, before that, I'd go to the Jeopardy channel. And yes, it's like watching television because there's these commercial breaks. So many commercials. It's crazy. But then it's like I don't see commercials anymore. And they were just blowing my mind. Like it was, it just caught my attention because I wasn't really paying attention because it was a commercial break. But suddenly I realized that Amy Schumer was in a Tampax ad. And the one right after that was Jason Alexander advertising an online poker app, I think, or something like that. I was like, what is going on? This is what people do? This is what, these celebrities.
This isn't satire?
Yeah, exactly. What weirds me out is how much on like, syndicated network TV type stuff, like if you're watching Jeopardy and just the type of commercials you'll get, how often there are television advertisements for just advertisement filled Candy Crush style games. Like the kind of like mobile ads that you get that you just want to click away from that you see online. It's like, no, there are full on TV ads that have like little actors or something and going over the game. And it's just some dumb, like, yeah, it's like Candy Crush, or maybe it's like a Sudoku app. It's like, how, I mean, some of these games, they can make quite a bit of money. They get up there in the App Store or whatever, and they have built-in advertisements and stuff, but still, I mean, it's got to cost something to get a nationwide television advertisement, and I don't know. It just starts feeling like it's like a great money laundering scheme is some of these mobile games. I don't know.
How is there so much money out there enough to do stupid shit like that, to like produce an entire commercial for some stupid ass game, and there's literally homeless people?
Yeah.
It's like, how have we gotten like, there's so much money when you talk about what these like mobile games, and I'm not saying that people shouldn't have like a little game to play. I think it's nice and it's fun to be able to do something for sure, but it's like, but look at all the money, look at all the fucking money that there is, and we have like
flowing
people
around. Going
starving, like there's kids that go hungry. What are we? Or even what are we doing?
It's like and the money coming out of the money that's going into this app for them to be able to do this, and for whoever's in charge of this piece of shit, like to make hundreds of thousands of dollars probably over the course of the year before people move on. All that money is coming from the hands of people that are way closer to those homeless people in terms of socioeconomic status than any of the app developers or anything like that. I mean, maybe some of these might just take off, and it's just some guy like in India, and he made a game and all that. But no, it's mostly these games that are made and structured to just leech money out of the hands of people who just need a break, and so they play a mobile game that's tailored to keep keep giving you like this dopamine thing. They're addictive. It's like gambling. Like there's so much to like these like mobile games and stuff like that they will structure it to get people to pay money for like tokens. Like, back when all this started, it was like, who would pay money for something in Candy Crush or something? But it's like, I mean, what is that called? It's not just paid DLC, but all these little things, they get you. They get people. It isn't just stupid people or brain dead morons.
It's like 99 cents isn't anything.
It's
like,
these little 99-cent things and this and that. And even though it's like, I mean, I don't need to, but I want to get to the next level today because I screwed up and I like this game and it's 99 cents, or I want to get this pack of stuff so I could play this game a little more. And that happens all over. And then they keep getting you with this. You're already addicted to your phone, and then you're opening up this game. It's just like, I mean, I play my New York Times games every day, and I'm on Twitter constantly. I mean, I'm addicted, big time, and it's common. And to think that all of the money just being stolen from working class people just because we need some brief respite from this hellish facade of late stage capitalism is disgusting.
It just shows
don't
how
quote
much
me
money,
on that though.
shows how much money is out there, and you know what?
Yeah.
How much money people, kind of disposable income people do have, if it's like a small piece here and there, people can afford it or whatever. But what it just makes me think of now, this season is coming up on us.
Coming up on you.
Is election season, obviously, and it's amazing how much money is raised from folks like you and me giving to these campaigns. Not only
speaking of
pay
leeches,
their salaries, with like tax dollars that we don't have any choice of, like, that's how their wages are paid, and that's fine. It's a government.
Oh
position
yeah,
and
when
all
they're
that
in
kind of stuff.
office, sure.
Yeah, so pay them, and then we have to pay to help them get into office, Well, and then when they do get there and we pay for it, they don't really do anything,
Yeah.
There's no accountability, and it spent, I mean, how many hundreds of millions of dollars is raised during election season, and it's not all just corporations, like, donating,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's like individual folks, to try to
Well, no,
have a part.
that's the thing, is that we part with our hard-earned money for some of these people, and those ones that have this, oh my gosh, look how amazing it is, all from these grassroots donations and stuff, and then they don't win.
Yeah.
Look at Bernie Sanders. It's like, you're
what a
going to put in all
loser.
that, and you know what's really going to sway stuff? His huge dark money and super PACs and all that stuff. That's really what's going to sway it.
And where
Excuse
did
me.
they get that money? Where did those super PACs and corporations and stuff get their money? From
They
us.
stole it from the working class in the first place. Yeah. From these gigantic.
So then they could sell
all
us
this,
back
You're
things,
right. All this
and
money's
there's
just out there.
It's so
Ugh.
much money out there. There's so much money. There's more than enough. Like, if you're talking about, like, where's the money come from? It's like, I don't know. Just look at where it is. Just find where it is, and we can use that if you need money to be able to feed people. If that's the resource that's going to keep you from giving food to hungry people is money. What a bummer,
Yeah.
Like,
Well, let's look at, okay, here's how much the 2016 election cost. The final, I mean, this is just, I'm not going to open the article, but this is from 2017 in the Washington Post.
that's the kind of in-depth analysis you can get from us.
Yeah, no. But, I mean, well, let's see. Final price tag for the 2016 election is in. How much do you think it is, Natalie?
Like, how much are the Democrats and the Republicans spending on it?
Yeah, for the 2016 election, how much did it cost? Yeah, between the two candidates. Even in the headline, it says it's a doozy. So for the presidential and
$1.2 billion.
congressional elections combined, according to Open Secrets. So let's say, well, this is the full price tag, 2016. This is congressional and the presidential. What do you think it is? What did you say?
I said 1.2 billion.
1.2? $6.5 billion.
Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god, that made me.
Just the presidential is $2.4 billion. This for to get people into office. Like, of course,
like
there's lots of races and there's primaries and it's
Yeah.
accounting for all of that, but still, that's a insane amount of money. Just in one election year, just for the presidential races, to get in the end, Donald fucking Trump elected.
The
Cost
minority
more
of
than
people
building-
wanted him.
It costs more than building the fucking Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Like, Jesus Christ. It cost as much as Steve Ballmer buying the Los Angeles Clippers. Like, God. Actually, more than that. I think his was around like 1.2 or some crazy thing like that. But yeah, you're right. All this money's out there. Oh man, I forget how we even got to this. Oh, because of mobile
having,
game
like, a-
ads.
Genuinely, like,
Go kill
sickening, like,
yourself.
visceral.
Go sit in the middle
yeah.
of the road and let a car run over you.
Oh
Like,
boy.
visceral reaction to that. Like, I kind of gagged a little
Yeah,
bit.
I
at
wish
the
people
thought
could have
of, like,
seen you.
It is seriously. It is like I feel like I'm
Terror-raising.
glitching out right now. Like the Matrix or whatever we're in. It's like she's thinking
Yeah.
about it too hard. Like, it's really freaking me out just how much money was spent on such stupid bullshit. And you know what? Now that oh my god, that's just reminding me of that documentary about Hillary and, like, zooming in on the sandwiches.
Yeah,
and,
for all
like,
those fucking bologna sandwiches.
yeah, like how hard it is. Like, just I I am just shocked. I am shocked at the amount of money that went into
I thought of you.
an election about getting someone. It's like, and so what were the ideas that came out of that? Again, what great like policies were worth a $6 billion price tag that really like puts us ahead of the curve as far as technological advancements and like like a quality of life and like longevity and like education and like all of that. It's like $6 billion. Man, that would have been nice to put into like some sort of fucking universal healthcare system or something. Seems like that could probably put a dent in some of these things. Student loan debt. Oh, I don't know how that could be abolished if we have just $6 billion around to like put hate ads out for commercials or whatever, like whatever you guys are doing, taking bus rides and taking staying in hotels and all this stupid bullshit just to talk bullshit to people and literally get nothing done.
And think about how much of that money went to losing candidates. It's like for all the ones that, but I mean, still, it's like people are throwing their money in just for the chance to have their guy in place, and like even with this idea of even if it worked and like this trickle down, you spent the money to get certain people in power, and then that in turn will do something good for you or for society or something like that. It's like that's already pretty tenuous, like this relationship between money invested and its return for society. But on top of that, it's like most of that is I mean, already half of it is going to people that aren't gonna win anyway. I mean, just in general, only one person can win. So it's like, the fact that this money all gets spent when you already know for a fact that it's not like a good investment. It's just throwing money in a fucking hole. Like that really says something.
It's gambling with someone like
it's gambling where you're not even guaranteed to get anything good at any point. There's no jackpot.
Not just you're gonna lose what you put in, you're gonna like lose a lot more sometimes with some of these. Yeah, it's like you could really be affected by some of these rules, like DACA and some of the like for like immigrants.
Sure.
The fear that happens like when there are elections, like with Trump, and when he wins, it's like, oh my God, like what happens with these DACA people that came in? Like, are you really gonna like force people out of this country because they could and they do and have and like all over the world, things like that. People have been forced to leave because of like racist and xenophobic policies, and
because of
it has like a real
Joe fucking Biden too. But it is all we don't have to go over that whole border fiasco that's happening recently.
Border fiasco.
I was talking the border fiasco.
Thing with Greg Abbott and them putting up barbed wire.
Oh, that but I mean the policy, the legislation that they still couldn't even pass. I mean, talking about lesser of two evils, it's like I don't know. Both of these things are pretty evil. It's like the Democrats are evil, and then the GOP is really evil and incompetent because even when the Democrats bend over backwards to give the GOP everything they want on the border, just a complete right-wing border security bullshit, and then the GOP still can't get it passed. Like, oh my God, just what a failing country. What a disaster. But
with a bunch of shows how games, with a bunch of businesses, and
who should run the United
economy,
States? Candy
low
Crush.
Unemployment rate, high like stock market. The economy is like supposedly doing really well right now. All of a sudden, or something. The stock market and unemployment.
Oh yeah, unemployment's like 3.7%.
Yeah, because like everyone has to have a job. You have to, otherwise you'll like literally just be on the streets and like get a fentanyl addiction or something.
Yeah, if you don't have a job,
go kill yourself. Go sit in the middle of the road and let a car run over you.
And literally people do.
Yeah.
And
I hope you get ass cancer and die, you son of a bitch.
Because you will not get health care for it.
Yeah, if you get ass cancer, you are gonna die. Here in America.
Let me shift gears here. It's been on my mind so much that I already brought it up when we were talking earlier today, but I did not give you a complete picture of the discourse that's been going on. I was thinking the other day, side note, I wanted to make a little musical thing for when we do this. It'll be a little segment. There'll be a little music sting that's like Twitter discourse or some bullshit like that, put in a little, if you approve, I'm going to make something
some
like
little
that.
vocals on there, maybe?
Oh yeah. A lot of auto-tune and some harmonized vocals. Yeah, I'll just make it with AI, I guess.
Yeah.
We got some nice microphones, but not the
sings.
voice to go with it. But let's see here. So this is what's been setting left Twitter ablaze, and a lot of people flaming me. I've been talking to a lot of people about it. But I also don't really agree with the tone, and don't agree with 100% of the original tweets that set all this off either. But I still took a side, for sure. And so I'll just read you this thread, and I want to see what your reaction is. From Kieran Fatima Opal. If you're a leftist, you need to be working out 4 to 5 days a week and learning self-defense, along with organizing with neighbors and in your local community for defense, food sovereignty, and community defense. There's no excuse not to do something to strengthen your body daily. The time for nihilism, self-pity, and excuses is over. We're living in a fascist country, whichever country you're living in the West. Our vulnerable neighbors and people of the global South, e.g. in Palestine, need us to step up. Yes, there's a lot you can't control in the world. What you can control is what food, drink, smoke, etc. you put inside your body, and you can control, for the most part, how you move your body, and when and to what end. Use that. Focus on what you can control. Find things you love to do. They don't have to be what others love to do, and they can change over time too. Some things I love: boxing, Muay Thai, weightlifting for muscle growth, racquetball, basketball, jogging, walking, calisthenics, dancing. Move something every day. Learn about muscle growth and strength training and what it does for you. Especially if you're small or feel weak in any way, you should be lifting heavy weights and building muscle. You can do it at any age. Just start slow and build up. Look up progressive overload. Schedule time in daily. There's no excuse not to. A 20-minute, 100 jumping jacks and 50 push-ups routine is better than nothing. You can do 20 minutes a day at least. If you have certain restrictions or disabilities, work within those, but still move every day. You need to be strong for yourself and for those who are around you. In October 2019, I was walking with a cane due to recurring knee dislocation, and I was smoking half a pack a day. I quit smoking in August 2020, and now I run regularly and lift heavy weights, targeting muscles to support the areas where I had disabilities. No fucking excuses. If you're still making excuses, it's because you want somebody else to carry you. Instead, you could grow the fuck up and do what you can to help others. Stop acting like you're the center of the universe and you don't owe anybody anything. If you're a leftist, act like it. And then a little meme that I've seen before too. A fascist worked out today. Did you? We all need to face reality and stop making excuses. Okay, so that was the thread. All right. I think there's some truth to that. I understand how part of it too, it's like you need to be able to be strong. You need to be able to fight back. You need to be able to do things to help your neighbors or people in need. Some of it can feel kind of LARPy, as people say online, because it's like, what fucking revolution is happening? But, I mean, stuff happens. You know, I mean, if you want to be involved in it, or even if you don't want to get in fist fights with people, which happens. I mean, do we not remember those? It was Idaho. It was not far from here, where all those guys were in a fucking moving truck ready to show up at a pride parade and beat people up. You know, if you're able-bodied, you should want to be fit, not just for your own health, but to help other people. You know, are you going to help someone, help a fellow comrade move if they need to or something? Like, come on. But anyway,
I mean, I feel like, obviously, like, yeah, knowing about your body, having some understanding about what's going to keep you healthier, exercise does. I mean, it's just like, there's not just physically, it's not about vanity or cultural norms or anything like that, beauty standard. Like, for your mental health, like the way that it affects your brain and like, you know, like it does help you just be better in
proactively getting physical activity somehow. Like not just
and because
as a
like,
byproduct of your day, but saying I'm going to work on my body, on being healthy.
Because like we're also like a pretty active species, you know, we're not like a sit around kind of thing. We need some like stimulation and things like that. We've got energy and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like what's really unfair and just like it's like, okay, so I guess I don't know who you're aiming this towards or who you think that is gonna benefit from saying if you don't work out, it's because you want someone else to do it for you.
Yeah.
And it's like, but have you ever heard of like people having like trauma or insecurities, you know, surrounding especially their body and like, or depression. You ever heard of depression, bro? You ever heard it? Like people kill themselves over it, let alone like don't make it to the fucking gym. So the kind of judgment on people that he's making on like the reasons why they're not doing it just because they're like little babies who can't be, they want everyone to do it for them is really, really unfair because a lot of the reason that people don't take care of themselves is because they don't care about themselves. You know, like that's a huge part of it. To just say that, I mean, he's just. I get where he's coming from, but it seems really, really
like the tone
judgmental.
isn't a great way to get people to do anything. You know,
seems
but
incredibly judgmental. Yeah,
but
and I'm like, yeah,
at the
you
same
are
time,
acting like a real leftist with exactly that tone. You gatekeeping motherfucker, telling people literally how to act like a leftist. Fuck you. Like,
well,
I get.
You're not gatekeeping anything. They're trying
he
to
said act
make
like
sure
a real leftist. He's like, you say you're a leftist, act like it. So who are you to say that what a leftist is supposed to be? Just because you don't work out?
I just took that as an actually do something. Take action. Act like it. Don't just be online and talk about leftism. That doesn't, if you want to say you're a leftist,
I don't know,
you have to act
I mean,
like
he's talking
it.
about working out and saying act like a leftist. So I feel like it comes really, he seems really just like really snarky, really judgmental, not going to win
it's a she,
anyone
by the way.
over on or whatever. Wow, that's really disappointing because it definitely seems like a dude thing to say. Like just really, really inconsiderate and really undermining her own point about like where she's coming from. She doesn't sound compassionate. She doesn't sound understanding. She doesn't sound like she's trying to help people win at all. She sounds like she's like bossing people around and judging them for not doing things that they probably already might feel insecure about. And it would be like, man, if I was in the beginning of like a fitness journey or any kind of thing with my body, reading that, it would be like, so I'm just like I would feel like a failure up until that point. Like that just like, oh, I'm not like doing enough, already been struggling with this. And hearing that is like, well, I guess I was right. I am just like a stupid piece of shit. I haven't been doing enough. And why would I want to do more now? What's worth it now? That's like a motivating thing. That's not true. And she should know that as some like leftist, that's not how you motivate people. Positive reinforcement is how you get people to do better. That's how people do better on tests. That's a part of home field advantage in sports is positive reinforcement and encouragement, not motivating by saying just like do better, be better, you know, you're not good enough. That does not motivate except for a very small fraction of people, and it can be really, really damaging to other people.
But it's not some sort of vague thing saying do better. It's a thread of saying there are ways you can do this. Even if you figure it out, you get 20 minutes, you can find 20 minutes to do something. I'm
saying she totally undercuts her point by being kind of fucking rude. Like you're like, it's like it makes me not really want to listen to you because there's a lot of other people that would get that point across better and actually make some progress with people by not being like such like a condescending asshole about it. You know? Yeah. It's like, what point are you're just like making people feel like shit, so that's cool.
Yeah, but it's like, but that's the thing. Is something like this going to stop someone who is like taking 20 minutes a day to do something? No. Like, are you going to read that or hear that and be like, well, now I don't want to do it anymore? No. I mean, if it gets some people do get motivated by this sort of thing. That's why boot camps exist. That's why that stuff
because
like
their
other
parents
people
were bad
do.
to them. That's like reinforcing trauma cycles, but sure.
I don't know. Where it's just like, hey, cut it down to the bare minimum. You're not doing something. You need to do it. Just do it. Nike. Just do it because you can and you don't have any excuses. It's a pretty common
saying
motivational
you don't have any
tactic.
excuses though is so incredibly so simplistic about it in like a rude way. The way that she's coming across, these are simple truths. You do have to do it, but the way that you're coming across makes it seem like that's not what you believe about it. It seems gatekeeping and it seems judgmental, which is not the point of helping people improve. It's like trying to prove some sort of point or something. You're like not out there trying to help people. It's trying to like make them feel bad so they'll be different or something. It just doesn't feel like it's like a reaching out an arm. It seems like screaming in your face and pointing at you more. Like, in my opinion, it's not really a good way to get through. And you know what? Maybe that wouldn't dissuade someone from going to the gym or whatever, but that would be like, man, what a great example of kind of like an asshole like on the left, you know, which is like a huge problem that the left has, is that people can feel like, I mean, you say you're a leftist, act like it. It's like, okay, well, that's like a what a great way to talk to leftists.
Yeah.
You're definitely, that's not going to, I mean, I don't know what you're going to get done with it, but.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the problem when it's like, when it's the messenger, you know, when it's just like, you had good points, but all it takes is just a couple of sentences, just a couple of comments. I run into it all the time, just in online discussions and stuff, where it's like, wow, I was with you until you just said that thing at the end, even though I agree with you on these things, or I agree with your messaging with this. It's like, because this stuff's true. Like, but instead we're talking about how the message is being put out there, how we're talking about their tone, you know, they're right. It's just true. Like, I mean, there's, the thing is, because it's speaking to a lot of people who, I mean, you can't use positive reinforcement to get someone going on something that they're not fucking doing. Like, and you'll see from this discourse, if you read through it, so many people who are already set in the ways that, no, I can't. No, I can't. I've already tried. I don't want to say names, but was in a very close relationship with the type of person who already has their excuses or reasons locked and loaded and ready to go beforehand, because they've already decided no matter what you're going to tell them, no matter what kind of encouragement you're going to get, the answer is no, because they don't want to, right? So it's like, you're not going to, with the tone and the messaging of this, you're not going to motivate that person to do it, probably, just like you wouldn't motivate anyone. But then that's the issue, is that it's just like, well, you're no marketing genius to this person. You're not gonna have a course. But it's
shut up.
But it's like, no, it's the internet. You can say whatever the fuck you want. But it's like, but you're also right. Like, people have 20 minutes, and there's a huge
is the
segment.
best kind of correct, I guess.
If anything and when it comes down to it, you can say it's LARPing or whatever. But if something actually happens, and you need to be out in the streets, like, and you're an able-bodied person who could have been at least a little confident in your ability to go help that person next door when the police are running wild and shooting tear gas at everyone or something like that. You live in a big city and these things happen. Like, you could be someone to help carry a load, And I don't know what to say when you look back on it and been like, man, I could have done better because I had 20 minutes a day to exercise, to meditate, to do this and that. And I know that because it's like, and I, because I'm depressed and I'll put those things off and I'm worse off for it because I'll sit there on Twitter or something like that. And I'll think of all of this time spent throughout the week where I could have been improving myself and I wasn't, and you can get positive reinforcement and encouragement helps where you're doing better, but it doesn't.
You know what never helps? Shame. That never helps. That never is a good tactic. It's not healthy and it's manipulative to like shame people.
You can't
and that's
say 100%
what I feel like is the
helps.
overarching theme of that. I would say that's not a good thing to try to make people feel, to understand their power and that they could do better. That's what gets lost in her whole message. It does not feel empowering. I feel berated. I feel belittled. That's not empowering. It's not saying, like, it doesn't seem like in any way understanding of people's difficulties.
But here's the thing.
That's what it feels like. There's not like any sort of caveats to be like, I know it's tough or whatever. It just seems like so much like suck it up and do it. And it's like, okay, boomer. That's what it feels like.
That's what's worked for me is at the end of the day, it comes down to it. You have to do it. No one else is going to do it for you. That's what it comes down to. I mean, just do it. Like we've talked about that. And Renee and stuff like that. It's really kind of crazy how this disgusting, huge, multi-billion-dollar company with this advertising slogan is really a pretty solid and cogent thing to like live your life by.
The reason people do it and do it long term isn't because they hate themselves and they think that they're not doing enough. It's because they do feel like they can do it. They want to do it for themselves. They do want to do that for themselves because they think that they're capable of it. That's a long term. How you do stay in fitness and health and stuff is by actually giving a shit about yourself and not just doing it because you hate yourself or because
I don't know. I've been working out for years because I hate myself. So, I mean, but that's all anecdotal. It's like, I never feel like, but anyway. So this is the thing, though, is that this is the conversation that I think is more interesting about this is the one that we're having, right? Is about, man, this is not how you motivate people, or this, you could be talking 100%. About positive reinforcement or ways to encourage this, or like, hey, these are also other things that you could be doing, yada, yada, yada. This conversation that we're having, which I think is valid and more constructive in the wake of this, operates on a foundational acceptance that these things are correct, that it's that working out is a good thing for people to be doing, that strength, body strength, mental strength, all of the things, the good things that come from proactively getting some sort of activity, however you can, is good and should be encouraged. And we talk about the way that it can be encouraged or discouraged through something like that.
And obviously,
is a good conversation.
The person saying it is doing it even...
No,
I'm
but
sure,
this,
obviously, they're doing it in good faith too, which is another thing that's why it can just be
a bad messenger.
So frustrating.
Yes.
Yeah. That it's like, especially it's like not a comment or reply. It was like a post that you thought about that you could have just taken a little bit more time to think about or have someone read for you to say maybe whatever. Does this sound like I'm a dick?
You're definitely not on Twitter. Yeah, a thread like this, someone's just blasting it out, and it's like, 90% of those things, it's like, man. if you'd just taken a few moments or had someone read through it, it's like, well, if that was the case, it wouldn't be on Twitter in the first place. It would be a blog post, or you have something interesting, it'll be in the Washington Post. No, but anyway, it's like that's the great discussion, I think. But that's not the discussion that came from this. The entire thing turned into discourse on, oh, someone read that, they did not have your reaction, and thousands of people on the online left said, I cannot believe you would throw disabled people under the bus like this. Like, that's literally someone that I followed for a long time. That was her literal words. It's really gross how you throw disabled people under the bus like this. It's like, that is your reaction to this? Like, and I understand
that you think disabled people can't have exercise.
Well, that's the thing. That's why, so it's kind of a retroactive thing, but going through the discourse that actually happened from this tweet on the left hating disabled people, it really explains the vicious exasperation that exists in the original thread. Because like I'm saying, I was like, there is this group of people that they're kind of, you can tell they're kind of talking about, people that I don't, where it's just like, I'm at this point where I don't know, no one's going to do this for you. Get off your ass, do something. Go on walks, you'll be more engaged in your community in the first place. If you're going to be a leftist, you have to fucking talk to other people, but...
I mean, if you're going to be a person...
Yes,
you have
exactly.
to talk to other people, honestly.
That's what leftism is being a human, Everything to the right is inhuman. That's why we're on the correct side of history,
I mean, just regardless of, like, revolution, too. It's like, what about climate change, guys? Like, electrical grids could be knocked out, and you'd have to, like, walk somewhere to go get water or something.
That's what I'm saying. Like, not even revolution, but things, crazy shit happens. We're just, we're living in the West or whatever, and we're just lucky to not have, like, a violent coup and overthrowing happening right now. Because we don't live in the global South or something like that. You need to be ready
Depends
to
on
help
who you
those
are
people.
in America, I guess.
Yeah. But anyway, that's like, and that's the thing that got to me. It's like, when you take every response to this, no one is talking about the tone or like the actual fact of whether it would motivate people to get to the gym or not. They're talking about the fact that they are being ableist. And it's like, I just wish that I knew more. Like, I feel bad because it's like, gosh, I wish that I had more interactions with disabled communities. Like, it's like our entire system is so geared against disabled people. If you're thinking of intersectionality, like that's being disabled really sets you back no matter what your disability is. Like, there's theory on this. It's all important and interesting. But to think that this is your takeaway, that telling people to exercise is being ableist, is so frustrating. Like, I just thought it played out so well, actually reading it to you and getting your first reaction, because I knew it would be something different, something more interesting. And you could say, well, yeah, because you didn't even consider disabled people. But it's like, I don't see what that has to do with this. Like,
I think that everyone can be active in whatever way that means active to them. Like, you can be active in whatever that means. I don't know what that means to you.
They literally say in the thread, you can do 20 minutes a day if you have certain restrictions or disabilities. Work within those, but still move every day. And if you're on Twitter, in left Twitter right now because of this, suddenly it feels like, wow, I guess I feel horrible. I didn't know that 75% of my mutuals and friends on Twitter are bedridden 24 hours a day. Like, seriously. And I mean, I still had some interesting conversations, but at the same time, and I don't want to like be like online victim shaming and victim blaming, but then the disability advocates that I talk to, like, don't do a good job of like, I don't know, of teaching me anything new. Yeah, like where it's like, I'm like having a conversation, I get blocked because they're like, nah, well, you're just ableist. You have to listen to us. How about maybe if disabled people are telling you that it's ableist, accept that it's ableist. I saw that multiple times. It's like, well,
So it's like, so
I mean,
how am I supposed to spread this message? So how am I supposed to be an ally if I have no fucking idea what you're even talking
yes.
about?
It's like, it doesn't make sense to me. And I feel terrible now. Like, and I don't feel like I've learned anything new. And I don't know how to help because all of us, able-bodied people and disabled people, to the best of their abilities, improving themselves is good for you too. Because if your complete paranoia is unfounded and your comrades do want a better life for you, a better society that caters to your needs more than it does now, which is what socialism or, you know, community building and anarchism is about, then I don't know what to tell you, you know?
I just feel like they also came at it really like, obviously I had some feelings where it's like, man, it's like really like judgmental. You seem just like judgmental, even if your intention is good, but they're just like straight up, when it comes to like name calling like that,
bad faith,
like saying you're an ableist is like, yeah, so do you think that they really did that to intentionally, like,
exactly,
even though there was that message in there that said work within your limitations?
Yes.
Like, did you think that they did that to just be ableist, and then yet another person undermining their own fucking point by being like, well, you're being a fucking ableist, so and this is the way that I'm gonna go about spreading you like why I feel, you know, hurt or whatever by this, and it's like by just saying that I feel hurt,
yeah,
and it's ableist because it is. And it's like, instead of like, maybe this could have been a growing experience or a learning experience for people, you just come at it saying, I can't even believe you. I can't even believe you. It's like, instead of saying, man, that seemed like so inflammatory or like pointed, or I feel defensive or whatever it is, you know, like it made me feel shitty. It's like, no, like pretty much it's like saying you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're a xenophobe, you're a homophobe, whatever. Just straight up ascribing like, a pretty intense label, like saying like,
even
like,
when it's true, it's like you need to be able to back that up because that helps everyone learn. Even if it doesn't change the mind of the xenophobe that you're talking to or something. It's like once we're turned inward and it's left on left and you're saying something like that, we want to know. Like, I mean, sure, there's total dirtbags just like anything else, and they're just gonna troll you because some weirdos just or sick of you disabled people or something like that. It's like who what's the point of that? I mean, if you're engaging with that, it's just because you're just a Twitter brain like me and you're just not, it doesn't move the needle anywhere, whatever. But one interesting thing that I got out of a couple of my discussions with disabled people was where it's just like, I mean, and I would respond, highlighted that part, like it's, you know, you work within it. I mean, some people are like, yeah, but they're still saying that when, they quit smoking and they worked out, even though they were walking with the cane, that's just pretty much telling disabled people they should buck up and do it too. And I'm like, I don't know. Number one, it's like...
none of that part is what got me. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, number one, a thing that I took away from it, it's like, why... I mean... Why do we go from hearing someone do that, where they're like, hey, I was walking with the cane and had problems with my knee. I put in a lot of work and now I can run marathons. Where do we go from that is something that people can say, that's inspirational. You know what? Maybe I can be like them, you know, to just being like, oh, now you think everyone should do that? You can't, not everyone can do that. I can't believe you'd say that. It's just like what people on the right do. It's like, what? What do you...
I feel like sometimes, obviously, when the messenger comes across like harsh, sometimes, obviously, why there's a stereotype about the left being snowflakes is because we are.
Yeah.
Because we are sensitive, because we're sensitive folk, you know, that like have thought about things and whatever. But yeah, I don't think that that part of it doesn't seem at all. That seems like, trying to like personally relate an anecdote to say that it's possible, but
it's
to
not
say that that's not
disrespecting you as a disabled person, which some people are saying it's like, that's not what it is. I'm sorry that you interpret it that way. I had someone else too. That's the person that blocked me. They're like, I'm not interpreting anything. This is what it is. And I'm like, no, it's the definition of interpretation, because you're reading into what they said and it was not the original poster's intention. You're interpreting it. That's just the way it goes. And with another thing that they said, they're like, and I was like, but their intentions were this and that. I was like, see, now you're only going from the perspective that the original person's intentions were only bad. That's the definition of approaching this in bad faith. And they blocked me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, that's just, you want to talk about, I'm sorry, that's just what it is. Well, that's what it is. I mean,
sorry, not sorry. Facts don't care about your feelings.
But it's just like, but you have to understand that your perspective is shaping this, you know? Oh, man, I don't know if we're going to have to. Oh, you're back. Okay. You stopped for a little bit. It was a really funny pause.
Too.
But okay, so the interesting thing, though, people talking about how some people literally can't work out. It's going to be really interesting, all of the stuff about long COVID, because I've seen a lot of this stuff that I don't hear about just in mainstream news and stuff, and it's not like that means anything, but when the only place I hear about this is on Twitter from people that are feeling personally attacked by someone saying exercise. I don't know what to think.
I feel like do they think that
someone here says
CrossFit? It's like, can people take a walk?
So it says 4 of the main conditions in long COVID, which 25 to 50% of the population now has, depending on where folks live. There's no way that's true. There's absolutely no way that's true. I'm sorry. No way.
It's citation needed.
Can cause exercise intolerance, exercise-induced anaphylaxis, and developmental genetic energy processing disabilities where folks are not to exercise as it's dangerous. I'm sorry. I just don't believe that.
What is their definition of exercise? Like, is a walk exercise? Is like walking around the block and exercise? Because that's legit. Like, that's legit. Yeah. That's fine.
That goes into what the original person's saying. You can find 20 minutes for activity, work within your stuff. But it's like, I mean, some people on Twitter are really standing by that. No, not everyone can exercise. No, even just a little bit can cause them to worsen their condition. And long COVID causes this. I'm like, I'm sorry. I feel like we're horseshoe theorying this, and I'm on the left mirrored version of the crazy anti-vaxxers on the other end, because this is gut feeling. This doesn't quite seem right. And I don't know. I could be proven wrong, and we're in for a disaster if you're correct. Like, there's no point in any of us exercising, because we're all going to fucking die.
I wonder if they... but exercise means, it's like, if any movement at all means exercise, then it's going to be really hard for, like you were saying, like, people to like stock stores. You were just talking about your job at Walmart, and if like 50% of the population has long COVID, then it's going to be like impossible for like some of like the most fundamental things for our infrastructure, like garbage being collected, food being stocked, like Oh my God, I just had this horrible. I'm thinking about like EMT drivers like trying to run for a patient and they're like, oh, I can't. And they just like.
Yeah, firefighters just,
I'm an ableist. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Firefighters, yeah. Cops, they stay the same.
Yeah, yeah, cops, yeah.
Or die of COVID.
Donut-induced anaphylaxis, but there's an ableist joke because then firefighters and they're yelling at them, run into the building. They're like, not everyone can run just all the time whenever they want, But it's like, but it's your job. Sorry,
you have to.
I'm sorry. But yeah, it's been an interesting time. So, hey, maybe this is the person I was talking about. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know this. This conditions exist in dozens of post-viral and post-infectious syndromes and connective tissue disorders. I don't know. Yeah, with this alone, you expect 1 to 2 billion impacted people to fit your impossible expectations, not counting other disabilities and age-barring exercise. If you're a leftist, you should have already built your praxis around common disabilities severely limiting or impeding exercise, as you'd want to prioritize learning about different disabilities, especially before making grand, sweeping, false assumptions like you've done here. I mean...
And then yet another person saying, if you were a leftist, be like, you guys, you leftists.
Yeah.
Saying, if you were a real leftist, if you were a real leftist, if you were a real leftist, like, fuck you guys, man.
Yeah, pretty soon Scotsman won't exist anyway, so it'll be the no true leftist fallacy is practically what it is. But yeah, I just got to say, I mean, this person that I followed and there's even more to it because she works out a lot. She's really fit. She's got some muscle. And posts about it, and she's generally really cool leftist follow. But just the quote was truly wild how y'all throw disabled people under the bus as lazy and regurgitate the same bootstraps talking points as the right. Like, I'm sorry, just any mention of self-improvement though, immediately it's like, what is this, some sort of liberal pull yourself up by your bootstraps? No, it's good for you. You'll be so happy that you did.
What she needs to say is you can. That needs to be the overriding and underpinning message is that you really can. I really do believe in you.
Yes.
Not that you're not good enough right now. You're not enough of a leftist. You're just all talk. That doesn't feel good. Saying, I know you're capable. I know you believe these things. I know you want to help. And this is a way you can do it. And I know it's hard, but I know you can do it.
Yeah.
I have done it and I know it's hard. And it's really simple. You just have to do it. But you know what? I can't. You can. You can do it. That's what people really want to hear.
Yeah,
and she's just not a very good motivational speaker.
Oh, yeah. But see, the thing is, if you had the follows and you said exactly that about it, you would get called ableist.
It would be.
It's a problem. Yeah. Like you're saying, we're a bunch of snowflakes. And online isn't really representative of all leftism, of course. But that's kind of the point here, because offline, no one would say that because people are helping each other, because people say it's a no-brainer to help improve yourself so you can help others. Like, it's a no-brainer. Like, and it helps yourself.
Put your oxygen mask on first.
Like I say, yeah. I mean, that's even outside of that. It's just like, no, even if you're going with the intention of, I can more easily help others, it still works. It's still self-improvement. But
that's literally what the oxygen mask thing is. It says, put your own oxygen mask on before you assist others, because that's like the whole intention. Don't jump into them first. In order to help them, you have to have your mask on, because otherwise you'll just suffocate to death, and they will also, because you didn't put your mask on first.
And if disgusting corporate landlords start forcing everyone out of their homes, if no one can lift a fucking box to help the actually disabled people, that need help, to get out of their home, to help old people, help children, help people that are affected by late stage capitalism and the slow descent into fascism that is America right now. If you can't lift a fucking box, hopefully someone can, you know? Anyway, okay, so.
Her on Twitter. No.
What?
She can just come. She can have a box lifting service. That girl that posted that on Twitter. That woman.
Right, yeah. Well,
I'm just
maybe she does. No, I think that's called lesbianism. No.
Yeah. That's box licking
Oh,
service.
yeah, I heard that wrong. Okay, anyway, I love you. I'm trying to keep this under an hour.
love you
It's
too.
like 59 minutes.
Yep. 30 seconds. Yep.
Okay, shout out to everybody. Shout out to Zach and Brown and Wendy
Zach and Ryan and Humpy and whoever else. I don't know.
I hope you get ass cancer and die, you son of a bitch.
All right, love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.